Donald Trump has to say.
Very interesting event today on the calendar for everyone around the world to listen to what he has to say in the countdown to his inauguration. But let's come back to Europe, where we'll be looking at Italy. Once referred to a number of years ago as the sick man of Europe, that's in terms of the economy of Italy. Now look at the lira. Now, one of the world's most volatile currency. The banking sector is also shaky in Italy. Is Italy getting sick, economically speaking, all over again?
I think if you look at Italy, you can't say it's getting sick again. I think you have to be stronger. You have to say Italy has been sick the whole time. It looked like it was maybe getting better in between with Matteo Renzi at the helm, but at the moment it's still getting sicker again. Renzi was basically voted out with the referendum. He pegged his future on it. The Italians knew that. They voted no reforms that will hurt us, no reforms that will make Italy more competitive, at least in the eyes of the government, at least in the eyes of the financial people here. And so the estimation of Italy is a very critical one. I just read today a comment by a senior economist from a German private bank working out of London, who says that Italy is, for him, the biggest political risk 2017.
Finally, Ulrich, let's talk about that report you did for DW Business earlier today about Volkswagen diesel deception and the record $4.3 billion US settlement in the US. How is this story pacing out? Bring us up to speed on that. This is a very sizable amount to enter a new year with as penalty for VW.
Yes, in order to settle this, VW will have to pay $4.3 billion US, and that's to get a settlement on criminal charges. And it also carries with it the penalty of an admission of guilt, criminal guilt. And Volkswagen is paying its way out of this. But an analyst I talked to earlier in the day, standing in front of that VW dealership shortly before I went out there, he said that the admission of guilt could come back and kick them in the knee, if you will, because Volkswagen is looking at further suits by U.S. states, that is state claims, and the admission of guilt can also trigger more successful investor claims, also possibly costing billions of euros. Investors claiming that they were informed too late of what was going on, what Volkswagen was doing. They didn't have a chance to react appropriately. Interestingly, because of this settlement, investors today are quite pleased. The share is shooting up by around 4%. And it's almost incredible. I almost can't say this, but it's hard to believe. The Volkswagen share dropped like a stone after the scandal hit in September 2015. It dropped to a low of 86 euros. Today, it's trading above 150. It's gained 75% since that time.
Amazing, amazing, Ulrich. Sometimes you don't understand how the market behaves with bad news, such as scandal like this, but then investors seem to have a mind of their own. Thank you very much. Get a little bit warmer and do enjoy the rest of your day. 5 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock CET. We're listening to Donald Trump, all of us around the world, and those of us here in Lagos as well. Thank you, Ulrich Batz, my colleague at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange for Channels Television. Now, let's look at the U.S. stocks index futures pointing to a slightly lower open today. Nothing on the streets to listen to, with the exception of President-elect Donald Trump's first press conference. On the earnings front, MSC Industrial and SuperValue are both set to report before the opening bell at about 9 p.m. Here. Pardon, it's about 3 o'clock here in Nigeria, beg your pardon. Market will be closing about 9 p.m. Nigerian time. KB Homes is due to report after the market close, and you can see the futures there a little bit sluggish on Wall Street today, the third trading day of the week. Okay, let's move on to Asia, where the markets are closed for the third trading day, mostly positive as investors await Donald Trump's first full press conference as U.S. president-elect to give insight into the new administration's economic policies. The Australian ASX 200, about 0.2%, led by its materials sector. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 higher 0.33%. The Korean Kospi about 1.47%. That's really strong. In China, the Shanghai Composite closed 0.77%. The Hong Kong surged also 0.62%, a bit of a rally. Now let's look at the story here on Africa between Uganda and Tanzania, awarding a contract for designing a crude oil pipeline running through both East African countries to U.S.-based firm Gulf Interstate Engineering. Earlier last year, Uganda agreed with Tanzania to jointly develop a $3.55 billion pipeline to help ship Uganda's crude to the international marketplace. 1,445-kilometer pipeline will start in landlocked Uganda western region, where crude reserves were discovered in 2006, and terminate at Tanzania's Indian Ocean seaport of Tanga. Uganda estimates overall crude reserves of 6.5 billion barrels, while recoverable reserves are seen between 1.4 billion and 1.7 billion barrels. Meantime, the Executive Board of the IMF has completed the 7th review of Uganda's economic program under the policy support instrument. Here in West Africa, we are looking at one of the fastest growing economies in sub-Saharan Africa, where cross-border cooperation is crucial to develop mechanisms that will facilitate trade and power exchange among member states. So at the January 25 to 27 West Africa Regional Energy Summit in Côte d'Ivoire, the recent South Africa and Morocco examples will be discussed to illustrate the benefits of well-managed independent power projects on the continent. The Power Summit organizers EnergyNet says the Abidjan conference sessions will focus on regional cooperation and power delivery, and the importance of gas in accelerating development, as well as the private sector role in project financing. The executive director of the West Africa Power Pole, Senkoi Ki, is scheduled to showcase successful case studies and present live projects seeking investments in West Africa. We'll be back after the break. We have a lot to talk about in Nigeria fixed income market and currencies trading day as the central bank meets today with bureau de change operators.